Well, good morning, YouTube. You know, I let the fire burn throughout the night, and we definitely got some more of it going. Nice thing is now this is still hot, so I'm going to try to move some of the unburnt stuff back on top, and we'll try to relight it again, get it going so that hopefully today we can make some real progress on getting rid of some of this debris. Now, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I was out here till about 11 o'clock last night, and it was staying lit, but kind of dying out. I went inside, I took a shower, and I can see this fire pile from my bedroom window right up there. And I looked out, I don't know, about 11 o'clock when I got out of the shower, a little after 11, and it had actually sparked up pretty good. So I monitored it for a little while after that, and it died back down. And it went through those spurts here and there. Remember, there was a time where I put diesel fuel in different areas of this, so every once in a while it would catch one of those diesel fuel spots, it would flare up. Once it burnt all the diesel fuel off, it would kind of go back down. When I finally went to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I looked out and there was still a nice little glow out here, and I'm happy to see that it just kept burning all night long and it's still good and hot. So I'm going to try to feed it a little bit more and keep it going. All right, so I'm fueling up and adding bar oil to all the machines. You know, and I couldn't help but to notice the 460 Rancher I just bought a couple of days ago. This Johnson red I've had for probably 10 years, 12 years. It's been a while. And looking at their design, they look the same. I know they're different sizes. I know there's only so many ways you can design a chainsaw. But everything from the levers, the way the covers are designed, I have a feeling that Johnson Red is actually made by Husqvarna or vice versa. And that's probably why I've always had really good luck with this chainsaw for so many years. The handle designs are about the same. Even the screw placement on the covers, on the top cover and the bulb, top cover, bulb. Slightly different designs, but very, very consistent with one another. Alright guys, I'm going to attempt to use this skid loader to pick up some of the brush that's around the pile. Going to throw it back on top, get this fire revived. Got to be really careful that this thing is heavy. It's really easy to just spin the tires on it. And my yard is so mucky, and the fire pile is kind of in the low spot of the yard where it always stays wet, especially after all the rains that we've had. Hopefully I don't get it stuck. Now I'm basically just using the grapple as a rake to kind of get everything in a pile. Then I'll clamp the jaws down to see if I can't pick some of it up. I don't have a good camera mount in here, so this may not go as smooth as I'd like. Well, I may have grabbed too big of a bunch that may still be attached because I feel it picking up on the back of the skid loader. Let's see if I can back out of here. All right, well, I dumped a pile in there, but then I realized maybe I ought to move my chainsaw before I run it over. All right, so I got this giant log right here that was sticking out way over there. I'm gonna try to get it up here on top. That'll weigh some of that down. Maybe get this loose stuff more in contact with the hot spot. I'm trying to be very careful. I am right underneath the power lines. So being very careful about lifting. Oh yeah, look at there, fire's starting to go. We're making it alive again. Man, I wish I had a good place to put this camera. So I've got as close to the pile as I can get. I'm gonna try to tilt that down, open up the... So I got a lot of the stuff that was sticking way out to here and got it thrown on top. See, I'm having a little bit of trouble because I almost had it stuck right there, but I was able to rock it back and forth and get it out. But now we've got a lot more wood over top of the major heat source. So now I think I'm gonna divert my energy towards this tree. I'm gonna come over with a small chainsaw and just start knocking off all the top limbs and then kind of get them drug out here a little bit. That way I can come by with the skid loader, pick it up, drop it on the pile. And I'm gonna be very careful not to cut the ones that the weight of the tree is leaning on yet so that it doesn't roll on me. Because I'd actually like to save the log if I could. So I'm gonna cut all the limbs off, burn all the limbs, and just set the log to the side for the moment. And as you can see, I said it would mess up my yard. I'm trying to be very careful on my turns, not to skid it as little as possible. But I'm not that skilled of a skid steer operator, so I'm doing the best I can. Ooh, we got fire. All right, I took the small chainsaw and I went through and I cut all of the limbs that were coming off of this side of this pine tree, trying to be very careful not to cut one that was supporting its weight. So as you see, I went down along that, got everything off of the top, even a few from the other side that didn't look like they're supporting weight, but there's another tree right there. Some of those limbs are leaning on that tree, supporting the weight of this still. So I had to be very careful which limbs I cut and which limbs I did not cut. So you see there's a leg like right here, comes down, and all the weight is right about here. So I cut it past that so that it didn't change the way this log lays, but I want to be able to come through with the grapple and scoop all this stuff up if I can. I'm gonna have to cut that tree right there too. That's actually a tree that broke off. No, that's actually a branch stuck in the ground. I'm looking at the shape of the split there, the Y. Yeah, that's not actually a tree. There was no tree there. So this is where having the machines should come in handy. I didn't have to cut this all up small. I just cut it away from the tree. That machine should be able to come through here, scoop it all up, throw it on top of the fire pile. Let's find out. All right, guys, I took a few minutes to try to find a way to rig up the phone inside the machine. Now, I've got a large assortment of tripods and suction cup bases and all kinds of things to mount stuff. What I don't have, and I do have, but I broke it, is the actual clamp that holds the cell phone. So I've got it kind of jerry-rigged on here. I'm using one of these little flexible twisted around things. It took like 9 itty-bitty little zip ties to kind of zip tie it in. I don't know how well it's going to hold. We're going to give it a try, but at least this way you can kind of see what's going on from the driver's seat. Hopefully it'll work. Alright guys, so here what I'm trying to do is get the teeth down here to be right on top of the grass without digging into the grass, so I can use it kind of like a rake. It's real tricky on unlevel ground. Oop, there's one of my zip ties. Alright guys, so now what I've done is I went ahead and grabbed that tree and I pulled it away. It was sitting over there. I pulled it back. Now I get to the back side of it. I can cut off a lot of these limbs, but I've still got it in the grapple so that the tree's not going to roll on me. That machine probably weighs, well, I don't know, enough that it's going to make it a little bit safer for me to cut all these off. And then I can move this tree out of the way, then come back in and pick up that debris, then move on to the next one. As you can see, the fire is going good and strong. Well guys, I screwed up a little bit. I cut that one from the wrong side and I knew better. So I got the saw pinched in there pretty good. You can see it's actually pulling the blade off of the bar. So I pulled out the rancher. I'm gonna try to cut it back over there some, relieve some of the pressure on it. All right, well, I got the little one out, but as you can see, I stretched the chain pretty good. I'm gonna take it back over to the truck, see if I can't fix it. Part of me just wants to use the rancher to finish this up because, tell you what, man, that saw just cuts. Granted, it's brand new blade, everything. But it's just got so much power that it just makes light work of this. The downside is it's a really heavy saw and I don't need a 24-inch chain in order to cut these little nubs off. So stick with using the small one for now anyways. Hi guys, looks like I got all of the limbs off of it for the most part. That one you see right there, that's actually just laying across the top of it. So now I'm gonna readjust my position because I got way more weight on that side of the log than I do on this side. so I can pick it up, and I'm probably just gonna move it somewhere here out of the way so they can then get in here and clean up all this mess. And I think this is a good time to put a disclaimer in there that I am not a professional. By no means is this a teaching channel. I am not showing you how the proper way to do this stuff is, just showing you how I'm doing it. And I say that because what I'm about to do is a little bit dangerous and I don't recommend you doing it. But in order to get that log up, to get those last couple branches off, I had to raise the boom up. Well, in order to get out of the machine with the boom up, I had to climb under the boom, under that log. And if a hydraulic failure were to happen right then and there, that could be a terrible thing. So use extreme caution when doing stuff like this, because this should really never be done. I think I've got it at a fairly well balanced point. But this thing's long. This is every bit of, I don't know, at least 40 or 50 feet long, maybe longer. It's kind of hard to guesstimate from the driver's seat. So now I got to try to move it someplace out of the way very carefully. Thought for a minute that I should show you my perspective, because I've only got about 12 feet or so hanging out on my right side and like 30 something feet on my left side, and it's definitely a little topsy-turvy, so I'm keeping it pretty low, just high enough to clear the other debris. Focus. Keep my zip tie out of the way. Yeah, that's sticking out quite a ways over there. So I gotta make sure not to hit my pool cabana as I turn this and lay it down against those trees over there. The smoothest operator, but I'm getting better. problems that I see I'm having is like, I'm trying to get those rake teeth to kind of just scrape the ground without digging in. But as I pick up a load of debris and I back up and I change direction, I find that parts are falling out of the grapple and I'm running over it, which is yanking more parts out of the grapple. So I'm leaving some debris everywhere. But all in all, I'm still making much quicker work out of it. Just need to get a little bit more practice with this. All right, guys, my next tree isn't even on the ground all the way. It's kind of caught up on some other trees, so I'm going to try to reach up there with the grapple, pick it up, bring it back a few feet, lay it down on the ground. That way I can do the same thing, go by and cut off all the limbs and whatnot. And actually, if I can get a hold of that, I may just throw it on the fire pile the way it is. All right, guys, so you can see that tree is up there. Now, that's about 10 feet off of the ground. It's kind of caught up on that tree over there, caught up in a few of these others that have been broken. So it's not a safe place to try to cut it. So I believe using the skid steer to pull it down is probably the safest approach. But to get into it, I got to clean up a little bit more debris here on the ground first, and then we'll do that. All right, and I keep almost running over my lawn chair that I brought out here last night. So I'm going to try to pick it up with the grapple gently. It's already broken, so if I broke it, no big loss. And move it out of the way somewhere. Well, for what I lack in skill, I make up for in persistency, right? see that tree right there, I actually went in and I grabbed hold of it the best I could and wiggled it back and forth and lifted it lower, and I just kind of pulled it out by the roots. Somehow in the process, I knocked one of the couplers loose, so I lost my grapple, but I fixed it. Well, definitely made a big difference, and I sure am thankful to have that grapple on there. Definitely making things easier than just using my tractor, which I could have got it done with my tractor. It's just more efficient to do it with this. Now you see I got a bunch of half trees back there that broke off. I tried wiggling a couple of them out like I did that first one, and it wasn't happening. I just don't have a good way to get a hold of it. They make a tree puller that actually clamps it sideways, but with the jaws on the grapple, it just doesn't get a hold of it. So I'm probably gonna get over there and cut those down with a chainsaw, and then just pick those up with the grapple and throw them on the fire pile and just keep working my way more back towards that corner. It was about 2:15. Mike should actually be here pretty soon, and I am really thirsty. So I'm gonna go grab me some water, take a 5-minute break, and then we'll get back to it in a few. All right, guys, Mike finally made it out today, and I took a break for a minute, ate a cheese stick, ate an apple, then I came back down and I cut down those trees, and then I cut the stumps somewhat flush. I tried to leave a little bit because I didn't want to get the chain down in the dirt, but cut them as flush as I could, so at least I'm not going to hit anything driving over the tractor. So I'm going to go back down there with the skid steer and try to pick up a lot of that debris. Since Mike's here, he's going to start trimming branches off of those other big logs so we can get to them. All right, guys, making one heck of a difference. Got a bunch of the big logs stacked over here, but with Mike running the chainsaw and me running the skid steer, we got quite a bit done. In fact, I think we've piled the pile so big that now I got to give it some time to catch up. I just hit it with the blower to kind of heat it up some, but unfortunately scraping the bottoms over there, I am getting a little bit of dirt in the pile. I'm trying to be careful not to. I'm trying to shake most of it out over here before I get to the pile. But we still got the big tree over there. That one there, when Mike cut it, it stood up. That tree was laying down. It's like some of those dangers I was talking about with the root ball. Yeah, it's amazing how much faster it goes having a second person here. Now, Mike's only been here like an hour and a half, and we made a big difference in that hour and a half. Now, about 5 minutes ago, I saw him walk out of the yard back up to the house, maybe just taking a break. I figured I'll take a break too. And I walked over to get the blower, and I noticed that the chains are off of both chainsaws. So while Mike is trying to drop that one that's leaning, then I'm going to get in there, clean all that up with the skid steer. And then I want to get these trees that are down behind the big root ball first. That way when the root ball goes up, those trees aren't in the way. And I got some short ones here I can clean up real quick. And then we'll worry about trying to cut that big one. I think what I'm going to do is before we cut that, I'm going to come out here about 2/3 of the way down. I'm going to grab it with the grapple. That way the skid steer's got the weight. And then that way when we cut it down here, if that root ball wants to go back, it's not going to try to fling the whole tree. It'll just, the root ball will drop, I hope. My poor yard, absolutely destroyed. And I hear thunder off in the distance, so I don't know how much more time we're going to get. It's about 5 o'clock now anyways. Actually, I think it's after 5. And I know Alicia and Mike brought dinner. So she's got some really good, yummy dinner prepared for us. But I really want to get these last couple trees cleaned up today at least. most of that cleaned up back there. And then this storm come in out of nowhere. I guess a couple tornado warnings, winds are blowing like crazy. And another tree just fell and it landed on my daughter's house. And I hear other stuff snapping and popping back there, so we gotta be very careful. Yeah, I was out there running the skid steer. I knew it was dropping rain a little bit. And I looked and I could just see the trees swaying like crazy. Oh, that sucks. Laying right on top of the house. Yeah, that skid steer really tore the crap out of my yard. But you guys remember how this day started? You couldn't even see that tree line back there. There was so much down. Got all the big logs stacked here. I still got some cleanup to do there. I'm going to cut those a little bit shorter. But it stood up as soon as Mike made the cut on it. There is some stuff down here by the bank of the creek that I just can't get to with the machine because it drops off too much. If I had an excavator, it would be great. I could reach in there and pick it all up. So that stuff I'll at least have to pull out of the creek and throw up under the bank by hand. But yeah, all this area through here, guys, all cleared out. And I think what I'm going to do is try to clear some more of this out. Like I said, I can cut these stumps a little bit shorter. That's just the root mass there. It's pretty big. We broke part of it off with the tractor, with the skid steer actually. But I think I'm just going to clear this little pocket completely right here. Might be a little challenging to dig out that root ball, but we'll try it. And I might even take out some of these small trees right here and clear this lower underbrush. And then all the big logs, I'm going to stack them back here and just let them dry out. They'll make good firewood next year or the year after. But yeah, my yard got bigger now because normally the tree line was like here. Now we're cleared out another 30 feet or so. It's unfortunate that another tree fell down and landed right on Michaela's house. Unfortunately, that tree right now is laying on top of the power lines going to the house. The power's still on to the house, so I don't want to get up there and touch anything. We've called the power company. We're going to let them come back and fix that. I still got a bunch of like small debris here and there. I'll come through with the rake and try to get it all into a bunch and pick it up, throw it on there. Unfortunately, our fire isn't burning very well at the moment. It's still burning deep inside, but it's not getting up to all of this. So maybe I gotta hit it with another dousing of diesel fuel or something. Like I see, it's burning down in there, but I need to get it to flare up, burn it all. All right, guys, and now it's as calm as can be, and the sun's trying to poke through, but I think we've done enough for the day. Getting ready to have some dinner. Then we just want to kind of hang out with our friends instead of making them work while they're here. Katie called the power company. Hopefully they'll be out soon to take care of this. Because it's live wires, I don't want to get up there and mess with it. But I noticed that the wire comes from her house, runs to that pole. It's pulling the pole towards. It's actually got my wire slacked up to my house as well. Hopefully my fire will reignite and burn some more of that stuff down. We can only hope. But I think we're going to end this one here, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time I see you, keep those engines running. All right, guys, well, the power company came out. It's been a couple of hours. In fact, I'm almost done editing the video, but I figured I'll throw this in. They decided to bring the crane truck because what they're going to try to do is pick the tree up off of the roof without doing any damage to the roof. And there's live wires up there, so we're letting the professionals handle this one.
Or whatever, and I was like, I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to get them out. my friend grabbed the cat.
Okay, power company's gone, and they decided not to use the crane to pick it off. I was kind of hoping they would, because I was going to film that, but they just got up there with chainsaws. They cut it into pieces. They threw a bunch down here and a bunch around the back, so I'll have to clean that up with the skid steer tomorrow. But I said I've already showered, and it's nighttime, so I'm not doing it tonight.